So the big four markets, Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Newcastle, they all perform differently and they all have their pros and cons. Sydney's always going to be the king. It doesn't matter. If you buy in Sydney in the long term, you're always going to be safe. You're always going to get it leased out. You always get a buyer to buy when you want to sell it. And you're just going to have long-term sustainable growth in Sydney. But what's really interesting about Melbourne, I think Melbourne is a sleeper at the moment because so many people have negative connotations or negative sort of feelings towards Victoria and Melbourne at the moment because of what's going on with taxes and shit, and that's turned off a lot of investors. So when you actually look at Melbourne, the fundamentals of the Melbourne market pretty much correlates with Sydney in most degrees. But because of the sentiment, not as many people buying in Melbourne, which means when the market does turn, which we will, Melbourne's probably going to outperform a lot of the major capital cities. Then when you add the latest tax scheme that the government's introduced, which is you can defer the stamp duty payment, it makes it a lot easier for you to buy into Melbourne because you don't need to cough up that extra 6% upfront to buy a commercial property.